Yes. Yes. Can you hear me? Okay.
I'm here.
User left your channel.
Hello, Ben. Hello, everyone. And we are back here with our broadcasts of the exciting 1991 Formula One season. And this time, to join me on the booth is Richard Coxon, one of the most prominent drivers here in HSO. Good evening, Richard. How are you?
Thank you for that warm welcome. I'm very well, thank you. I'm hoping for an exciting race.
Yes, exciting indeed. Although the championship has been, at this point, dominated by David Jakes in an impressive performance. He leads comfortably the championship, but he has been having a lot of, let's say, competition in these last few races. If Ben can show us the championship board here, we can see that David Jakes has 86 points, which, well, he's the championship is his basically. But that doesn't mean he can win this race, especially because he seems to have quite a hard competition coming from Michał Janak and some of the other guys.
It does indeed. I mean, Yannick seems to have really found some pace in that new Ferrari, what was introduced in Manucore. It'll be an interesting battle come the end of the season to actually get a runner-up spot as well, because there's several drivers there who were more than capable of producing good results in the final few races.
Indeed, and I'm going to ask Ben to show us the qualifying results because just as we were saying, David Jakes got the pole, but by the narrowest of margins from Janak. And we know that that V12 can be a very powerful ally in these long straights of this fantastic Spa-Francorchamps circuit. On the board, David Jakes has the pole, accompanying him in the first row of the grid is Michał Janak. We were going to go again through the grid in a while because we will have time in this long track. The Spa-Francorchamps track is one of the biggest names in Formula One, at least recent history. It's a beloved track by many drivers and fans. And in real life, it's a famous track for inconsistent weather. Thankfully, as in our virtual setting, we assure that there will be nothing but sunny skies and pleasant weather. But still, I don't think this will be an easy race. I mean, it's not an easy track, right, Richard?
No, there's certainly plenty of places that can catch you out if you don't give it enough respect. I mean, Eau Rouge for one. Many people there crashing in practice, in qualifying, and even now in warm-up. It's very tricky in these 1991 Formula One cars.
Yes, indeed. And, well, still one of the most beautiful mods ever made. We were even mentioning that before the broadcast. Beautiful rendered cars, beautiful cockpits, beautiful track, courtesy of our friend Francois, and beautiful sounds too. So we have everything going for the immersion here.
Yes, we
Almost,
have a complete R-Factor package.
indeed, almost as we are in the real thing. So 3 seconds to the end of warm-up, and it's the exciting time when everybody clenches their fists and the nerves come climbing up your belly. Let's see if we don't have any problems on the start, which is always a bit tricky, especially in this track.
Fingers crossed we get a clean La Source, but as we know from real life, it was 9 out of 10 times there was an accident there, even
Yes,
in modern times.
that's true. Even in real life, that's problematic. So we can excuse our virtual friends here if there is a slight mishap, although we hope it's not too serious. People have been behaving at least nicely on the starts, so let's hope the trend continues. And people are already lining up on the grid. So, Ben, let's go through the grid now. On pole position, we have Davy Jakes once again with that fantastically beautiful green 7-Up sponsored Jordan. Alongside him, we have Michał Janak. Ooh, and
Lights
we are
are
going.
on.
Yes, we are going now to green,
We are.
and we are racing. Ooh, that seems a nice start from David. He jumped.
Oh,
Ooh,
there's contact.
there's contact between Victor, I think, and Janak. Janak is going wide. Let's hope there's not much damage to his car. And Victor seems a bit erratic here. Let's follow the leaders here. We have David Jakes, Nick Chapman, and Vitor Montenegro already fighting for position down the Camel Straight. Ooh, in the back of the grid we have crashes. We have big crashes. Now we have a Tyrrell crashed. Mark Florkett is without wheels and wings and all sorts of things. And I think Philippe Martinelli must have some damage, but he
Mick
kept
Chapman's
going.
took the lead.
Oh, the action never stops here. Indeed, Mick Chapman fighting for the lead here. He overtook David Jakes, and he's now in the lead of this race. We have no time for anything else. The action never stops. And David Jakes is already hounding him, I should say. I don't think Jakes is going to sit there for long. He knows how dangerous it is to follow someone, especially in this track. How easy it is to overtake in this track, Richard.
Yeah, there's plenty of passing opportunities, the main one being at the end of the Camel Straight. But if you have a good exit out of the bus stop chicane, you could possibly even overtake into La Source.
And indeed, David Jakes is really close to Mick Chapman now. I guess he wants that lead back badly. Meanwhile, Janak recovered. Oh, and Jakes is going for... He was looking at it, but that's not a big fast place there.
Chapman ran slightly wide.
Yes, indeed. He had to lift there. Jakes thought about it, but he thought better. Ooh, and Chapman went straight. But he kept the lead. Let's see for how long, because Jakes is really pressuring him at this moment. I wouldn't like to be Mick Chapman at this point, because Jakes is looking for blood. And there goes Mick Chapman again wide. And this is the opportunity for David Jakes to take the lead once again. They are side by side, and Jakes is in the lead. So let's see if Jakes can pull away at this point. But Mick Chapman has a lot of horsepower on this straight, and he's really looking menacing. And there he goes around the outside, and he's through.
Already past him.
Yeah, that almost looked easy.
Well, it's always easy in a straight line. It's when you come to brake it gets tricky.
Indeed, and look, Mick Chapman went wide once again, but he's defending the line. Oh, and now David Jakes got across, and he's now in the lead once again.
Yes,
Oh, yes.
Philip Martinelli is out. Must have been through contact with Mark Florkin.
Yes, I believe so. He came away very slowly from Rouge there. Oh, and look at this. Vitor Montenegro is in third, but Janak recovered from that first lap contact, and he's now wanting that third place badly.
Raul Ureb must have had a troublesome first lap because he's dropped right down to 24th.
Indeed.
So,
And he's driving a Williams, no less, so a bad weekend for the Williams team here. Oh, and look at this. Victor Montenegro, Michał Janak, and Juha Boss are now nose to tail. Oh, and Janak wants to go for it. But
not
that's
the
not
place,
a place
to be
here.
trying.
Indeed not. Oh, and now he went wide, and Juha Boss overtook him for 4th place. So the Benettons really looking strong here today.
Yeah, I have a feeling they're running less wings, so on the power sections they'll pull away from quite a lot of people or create overtaking opportunities.
Ooh, our newcomer Vitor Montenegro looks very squirrely with that Leighton House march there. But he's still holding on to the place. Let's see for how long.
See if Juha can close that gap on the run up to the top of the hill.
Yes, the Benettons, like you said, very strong on the straight bit here. And Janak there defending from Francois Remen. And yes, Juha Boss just got onto the back of Victor after the straight, and he's now attacking him. How hard it is, I mean, to keep one of these cars when you have such a huge pressure from behind.
It's incredibly difficult. I mean, for a newcomer like Victor, we don't know his racing past, but it's the first time possibly racing these cars with this bunch of people. You don't know what to expect from the person behind. Could be cool and calm, like we know Juha is, but Victor makes a mistake there.
Well, yes, Juha sitting there, but looking in either side, waiting for an opportunity. He's taking it calm and easily, although he has to look out because Janak is getting really close to him now. I guess Victor is slowing Juha down.
Massively, the gap between Victor and Mick has opened up by a great margin.
So let's see for how long Juha can keep his cool. We know he's quicker. Ooh, Victor went a bit wider, and Juha is really close now. But I don't think he would try something here. Really tight here, especially with these cars who brake so late. So for now, Victor went a bit wide there, but Juha went even wider. I think some people are being creative with the lines around there.
I think Janak had a brief look up the inside, and that may have just spooked Juha a bit.
Seems so, but like you mentioned earlier, I think Juha will once again down the camel straight, get right onto the back of Victor once again. He's looking, but no space there. He was too far back, I guess.
Juha was touching 204 miles per hour at the end of the straight there.
Oh,
Oh.
that's massively quick.
He was.
He's very close. That Benetton must be handling beautifully, besides being really quick down the straights. I mean, look how he comes out of the corners.
I wonder if Victor's got a bit of damage roll from that first corner contact.
He might. His driving looks very erratic. I don't know if it's his driving style. And Janak is now looking very menacing too.
Looking up the
Juha is looking. I don't know if there was a bit of contact there, but Juha just lift off to avoid disaster, I suppose.
Janak's looking to capitalise on the two.
He is, and if anyone could match the Benetton on the straight, is that Ferrari. Oh, look at this. Now, I would be nervous if I was there down in the middle of this.
I'm nervous sat here, let
Look,
alone on the track.
Yannick is looking left, right, everywhere. And Juha chose a defensive line this time. He came out. Ooh, and Yannick came out a bit poorly from there, and now is under attack from Remen. And now Gerard is right there up as well.
Yes,
So
there's quite a train behind Victor.
Indeed, while Jakes stormed the distance with the 3-second advantage over Chapman, we have all this lot trailing 8 or 9 seconds behind, with Victor holding everybody up behind him. Oh, now Juha Boss is looking really, really quick down the straight now. Maybe you'll take a look. He is. Ooh, let's see. He chose once again to be cautious and lets Victor take the corner once again.
I think he needs to get past Victor. He's costing him a lot of time.
It is. Although I believe Juha is not the man to risk unnecessary things, especially in such a long race like this one. But Victor is really holding him up. Now look at that.
I mean, this group of cars here, they're lapping 5 seconds a lap slower than the leader at this point. That's how much time is being lost.
Well, I guess that makes people nervous. And ooh, this is a real train now. Look at that. Meanwhile, Raul Jareb and Louis Stevens both dropped out of the race, unfortunately.
Dreadful day for Williams.
Indeed, and Stevens blew up his engine, his found metal, and look at that, Juha Boss is attacking him now. He's alongside. I don't think he can do it there. No, he has to back off once again. Ooh.
He's on the inside.
He's on the inside. Victor once again braking really, really late, and he's able to hold on to the position. I guess Juha is either not able to brake as late, or he's fearful of causing an accident, so he backed off, because look, Victor is already locking wheels.
But Rossetti and Yannick have both joined onto the tail of this train. Getting longer and longer by the lap.
Exactly, well, like you said, 5 seconds a lap slower is long. And look at this, Juha Boss is really, really close now. I mean, if he can try to use the slipstream, and he will, he might have a chance. Ooh, he's pulling alongside already. He has the power. Let's see if he has the brakes. And once again, Victor brakes really, really late. I don't know how he does that, but indeed, he's holding the position.
Seems he's running more downforce to brake later, but on the twisty section, Yannick down the inside of Boss.
Yannick with a lightning pass there. Not even I saw it coming. And all of a sudden, Yannick is in fourth, and he's now in the primary position to attack Victor. I guess Juha was taking too long to overtake Victor, and Yannick thought, okay, move along, Juha, let me have a shot.
Yes, without a doubt. Let's see if Yannick can do it.
Yes, the train is indeed getting even more compact now. Yannick looking. That Ferrari seems to grip very well. Oh, he had to take evasive action there. Let's see if that costs him. But he has the power. He's looking menacing. Let's see if he is so patient as Juha was on the brakes.
No, he's not. He's gone straight for it, and there's a bit of contact.
There is. He forced his way through. Ooh,
more contact.
More contact. I think Victor was trying to maybe get it back, but there was no room there. Yannick made that Ferrari really, really wide. And look at this. Everybody's scrapping behind him. Remen,
Rossetti's lost his front wing.
Well, that's not going to help him, is it?
Especially not coming to Eau Rouge.
Maybe he didn't even notice yet, and because disaster only done the steering as we would expect. Oh, he's costing a lot of time to everybody behind him, especially Brian Yannick. Oh, and look at this. I mean, in the front, Victor is overtaking Yannick. He tried on the outside, but Yannick denied him. But I guess Yannick must be using a lot of downforce because Victor was able to slipstream him.
Yes. In the meantime, both Palavak and Yannick have both got past Rossetti, struggling without the front wing still.
Yes, Rossetti will need to have an early pit stop for that, because in such a track, I don't think he can be competitive running without a front wing.
No, not at all.
So Yannick has got some room between him and Victor now, and Juha has yet another shot at Victor. He's looking everywhere, and behind him there's a big fight between Francois Remen and Gerard Rion.
All just seems a result of Victor pushing everyone up.
Juha Boss, ooh, he's muscling his way past, but there was a slight contact between the two, and Victor doesn't want to give way, so he stuck to his guns and he stuck to the position. Let's see now at the braking once again, but Juha, as we know, is not able to brake as late as maybe Yannick was, so he has to be more careful and staying behind once again. Oh, and Brian Yannick went straight past Gerard Rion there. But now Gerard is fighting again, braking really late for La Source and taking his position back. And Lavac.
Oh no!
They touched and Lavac went straight into the wall. That's a disaster for him.
Just caught up with the group and
That's a big shame. So Lavac retired right in front of us.
curse of La Source again.
Indeed. So let's go back to Victor Montenegro and Juha Boss because they're still at it. Oh, look at this. Juha is trying on the inside once again, but Victor, as we saw, is able to brake later than everybody almost.
Yannick is not pulling away as quickly as I thought he would.
Well, maybe he sees the leader so far ahead that he just tries to go his own easy pace rather than try to hunt him down.
Could well be. It is a massive gap this short in the race. 30 seconds behind at the start of this lap.
Indeed, after just 8 laps, that's an eternity, I should say. Ooh, and Victor almost crashed there. He almost crashed. His car is very, very hard to drive at this point. And Juha is once again alongside, but doesn't seem to have the speed down there to overtake. Well, Remond and Rion are coming. Once again, Juha Boss will start another lap behind Victor. That must be frustrating for him.
Without a doubt, there's nothing worse than being stuck behind a driver and seeing one of your rivals in Yannick being able to pass and pull away.
Yes, and let's not forget that there's also the tire strategy to consider here, because people might be running different strategies that we are not aware of. And look, Juha Boss is trying once again. Ooh, this time he looks really, no, still Victor can brake really late and he rides that curve using everything on the track and even more to stay ahead of Juha.
But this is bringing Remen, Ryan and Yannick back into play again.
Yes, the train forming once again, with only the stray wagon of Yannick going into the distance. So, quick recap of the people who are already out of the race. Petter Lavac, Louis Stevens, Ralph Jarret, Philippe Martinelli and Mark Forkin. They're all out at this point. But still, we still have 21 cars. And look at this, you have Boss. Finally, is able to overtake Victor. Let's see if he can make it stick. Indeed, he had to be creative and overtake him in another point of the circuit, probably profiting from Victor maybe going to Victor.
Gerard!
There's a massive crash there. Gerard Rion is upside down and on fire. And I don't know how that happened, but I think he had some contact with Yannick, because Yannick is without his front wing, and I believe maybe a puncture or suspension damage at this point. And Montenegro and Boss are once again touching wheels, and Montenegro passed Boss once again to retake that fourth place. Juha Boss must be getting really frustrated
And
now,
Remen
especially
down the inside.
yes, Remen tried maybe a bit too optimistic there. I think they touched, but Juha holds the place. I think people must remember here that this is a Formula 1 race and we still have 80% of this race to go.
There's a long way left yet.
Victor is coming to lap, I believe, Chris Hamilton, a newcomer here driving the Modena. And he's pulling right along, right to the side, letting the leader through. No problems there. And Juha resumes his titanic fight with Victor once again looking at the inside, but I don't think he will make it there, and he doesn't. Ooh, but he's still trying.
He's definitely trying. You'll also be keeping an eye on his mirrors though, watching what Francois do. Francois is attempting. So as we saw a slight gap at the source and Francois was there trying to overtake.
Indeed, although Juha and Francois may be lucky because the rest of the trains seem to all have eliminated themselves on the process. Maybe a clear case of people not being patient enough.
It could well be, yes, but that's usually what happens when you get stuck behind someone who's slower.
Oh yes, and I guess I can talk about that one myself. But let's not go there now.
No, let's not.
Look at this. Victor running once again wide. Oh, and Remen is right there to profit from any mishap that Juha might have.
Now Del Piccolo is joining onto
Yes,
the back
Gabriel
of
Del
the...
Piccolo is coming now with the LaRousse. I wonder if Victor is using maybe soft tires or something.
Could well be, but it's just the amount of grip he's got in the braking zones.
Well, we have 10 laps completed now. I think you better than me, with your expertise, can tell me how long some of the tires might last. But look, Juha Boss is once again right. Oh gosh, Victor almost ran him off the track there. Maybe an intimidating move. Oh, and Juha doesn't want to let it go this time, and they really hit each other hard now. And look at this, Remen has to take evasive action, and Juha is still ahead of Victor at the moment, and Remen is attacking Victor now. And we know that Remen is not nearly as patient as anyone else on this grid, and he goes for it.
He sees a gap, he's going for it. He really follows the center mantra.
He did, and Victor, he tried to counter-attack, but there's nothing you can do. I mean, he's clearly slower, and he's clearly fighting the car, and now he has Gabriel Del Piccolo right onto his tail.
I think Juha will be breathing a sigh of relief and hoping to get his head down now and see if he can catch up with Yannick in the final podium position.
Indeed, and let's see if he doesn't pick up any damage when he had to be so forceful to get the position. Meanwhile, Steve Parker and his Lamborghini engine gave up the ghost.
Again,
yes. I don't know if it's a matter of maybe Steve being a bit too hard on the equipment, but I guess the Ligier people are not very happy at this point.
no. I wouldn't imagine either. And with Mick Chapman's crashed off at the top of Eau
Mick
Rouge.
Chapman crashed all alone, so the second place car crashed. This will promote Yannick to second, Juha Boss to third, Remen to 4th, and Victor. Yes, Victor to 5th at the moment. Victor, who he has shaken off Gabriel for now.
That's good for Yannick in the championship, isn't it? If he manages to stay in the points, he'll pull further away from Mick, who is currently in 3rd, 2 points behind him.
Yes, let's not forget that indeed, although the first position is basically decided, there is quite a fight to see who's going to be the runner-up of this championship. Now we know that Yannick can finish races if he takes it easy, and I guess being 36 seconds away from David, he will take it easy from now on.
Yes, I think Yannick, once he gets into a rhythm, is very capable of finishing races. We've seen that plenty of times. Hopefully he can bring it home and score some good points for himself.
And speaking of points, let's run up the top 10 at the moment. We didn't even have time for that with so much action. David Jakes is first, with a big lead of 37 seconds. Yannick is second, Juha Voss third, Francois Remen is fourth, Vitor Montenegro is fifth, Gabriel Del Pico is sixth, David Junt with the footwork is seventh, nice job there. Jason Fitch is eighth with the Jordan. Jonathan Asserquint with the AGS is already ninth, another great performance from him. And Karel with the other Ferrari is now 10th. Still running, we have Brian Yannick in 11th in the Minardi, Paolo Rossetti, who had to change his front wing in 12th, Ray Ridal in the Brabham is 13th, Alessandro Riolo in the Legia 14th, Emmanuel Haas in the Modena is 15th, Bruno Schachern in the Minardi is 16th, 17th will be soon Jason Whited or Whited in the Colony Ford, and running last but still running is Chris Hamilton in the other Modena. So now let's see, people has spaced up and calmed down maybe a bit at this point.
I think the closest battle on track at the moment is Brian Yannick coming back through the field is right up behind Carell now.
Indeed, Brian Yannick, he had to stop also for a front wing. And look at this, Karel made a mistake, and Brian almost ran into him. But he managed to avoid that, but in doing so, he is still behind Karel. So now
May get him on the run up the Kemmel Straight.
Maybe. It's the Wilks Ferrari engine against the privateer one. Ooh, and Yannick pulling alongside. I guess he has it because Karel is going to let him through. Indeed he does. And Yannick climbs up to 10th, which can be considered good if you remember that he had to stop to exchange a front wing.
That is coming up behind Carell as well.
He is.
Maybe
Look at this. Vitor Montenegro is now under attack once again by Gabriel Del Pico. I guess Gabriel has a harder task here because he lacks the horsepower to just get onto the back of Victor in every straight.
Very true.
Meanwhile, I'm surprised that if we exclude people who had to exchange damaged wings in the sorts, we didn't have any stop from the leaders yet. And we already have 30% of the race completed, 13 laps out of 44.
I believe this may just be a one-stop race. People that do decide to make a pit stop, I don't think tyre wear is high on the agenda here. I know from speaking to Juha before the race, he was planning on just doing a one-stop. So we'll see how that pans out. He didn't tell me which tyres he was using, but he certainly only planned one stop.
So if indeed he does that, things are looking good for Juha, because he's currently third. He's 9 seconds behind Yannick. and if he stops only once, and he's comfortable with the tires, he might be in with a chance at least for second.
As yes. Keep an eye on their lap times, see if he is in fact closing. But they're very close in terms of lap times at the moment.
Indeed, in the lead, David Jakes is still pulling away. I guess the man cannot run slow, or at least as slow as some of the other drivers here. Or
I think
maybe
he's just found the key to his mod, I believe. Whatever
Yeah,
car we've put him in, he's done well.
Yes, he seems to have at least the right setup for him that makes it work. And he's able to be really, really quick with these cars.
Could also be down to that he's a certain German in this race.
Well, indeed, that German in real life, he went out of the race in the first lap with a broken clutch, I think.
Yep.
But David Jakes is maybe rewriting history here, and he's doing really, really well.
He's impressed us all season. I know at the beginning of the year we didn't really have him down as a title favourite, but proved us all wrong. And he's really taken his sim racing up to another level this year.
Indeed, Jakes has been a hard man to beat wherever car he's been sitting. But especially here in F191, he really is in a level of his own. Of course, notable adversaries that he had. Greg Wasson was maybe his strongest opponent, but due to real-life commitments, I believe he had to drop out. And there was the presence of Grant Ridal in one of the races with the Ferrari. And Grant managed to beat Jakes, although with a theoretically superior car, but not by much. So we will see if indeed there's because at the field in this field at the moment, it seems Jakes has the upper hand over everybody, but we can never count some strong people doing some one-offs in future races.
That's always a chance someone may just decide, I fancy a race, and that's purely the beauty of HSO. If you want a race somewhere and you just fancy a one-off, you can go have a look, see if there's a car available and turn up. See if you can qualify one of these wonderful F1 cars.
And qualifying has been such a drama inside the drama, right? I mean, we still have people who are not qualifying because we still have too many entrants. We are following the real rules of the 26 entrants maximum for the race.
A great position to be in some aspects, because it shows we've got a good committed bunch of sim racers here, and that they're still willing to try and put their lesser car onto the grid.
Oh yes, and it's always good to try because we have seen many upsets on that regard. People qualifying Modenas, qualifying Footworks, qualifying Kalani. I mean, it's really worth a shot.
It'll be interesting to see if David Young can actually get the footwork into the points, because I believe if he does and finishes, that'll be their first points of the year.
Indeed, Junt being, well, a sort
Journeyman.
of oddity. Exactly. Journeyman, a sort of oddity here on our championship. He's basically ran a lot of different cars, and this time he's at the Footwork. Now that they ditched the Porsche engine and are running the Cosworth, the car at least seems to be reasonably competitive in his hands, although Jason Fitch is not very far behind him with the Jordan.
No, it looks as though, looking at lap times, again, they're very close. On the downhill section, the footwork seems to pull away, but on the power sections, the Jordan closes the gap again.
And now let's go to Jonathan Asserklint. Jonathan and Paolo Cossetti are having a huge fight. Paulo is coming up the field after he had to change his front wing, and he's attacking Jonathan with everything he has. Ooh, and I guess he has the position here. He forces Jonathan a bit wide, and he's through. Jonathan understeered there a bit, and there's nothing he could do there. Meanwhile, Alessandro Riolo crashed with the other Ligier, so both Ligier Lamborghinis are out of the race.
And we've got Victor Montenegro in the pits. I believe this may be just for a tyre stop because he's already on his way.
Indeed, well, it is possible, but like we imagined, maybe Victor was running a softer compound.
Yeah, it could well have been. It maybe seems slightly too early for a one-stop, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him pit again.
Oh, and now our newcomer Chris Hamilton is also retired. Suspension damage at least. So that leaves us with 16 cars in this race. And running down the order once again. David Jakes is leading. Michał Janek is second. Juha Boz is third. François Romain is fourth. Gabriel Del Pico is fifth. Victor Montenegro, despite stopping, is still in the points in sixth. David Yunt is seventh. Jason Fitch is eighth. And Brian Yannick is ninth. Paulo Rossetti is 10th. Jonathan Asselklint is 11th. Karel Marcinus is 12th. Ray Rudal is 13th. Emmanuel Haas 14th. Bruno Chacon 15th. And Jason Witted, I don't know why I keep saying Witted. Must be something in my mind. Is 16th and last in the colony. Let's go to Jason Fitch and Brian Yannick, because Yannick is now attacking Fitch. And he wants that 8th place badly.
Fitch just ran wide at Poulet. And Yannick is up the inside. Already past him.
So Yannick breezing past Fitch. And let's keep an eye on Yannick, because I think he will be attacking David Yunt very, very soon.
I imagine he'll have caught up to him by the end of the lap. That's a blow for Footwork's points ambitions.
Indeed, it seems so. Despite exchanging the wing, Brian Yannick still has the pace to maybe get some points in this race. But let's see if he can do it.
Montenegro's in the pits again.
Now that's strange. Maybe a problem exchanging the tires, maybe he didn't get the service he wanted.
So we have a Footwork in the points, but I have a feeling within a minute it won't be anymore.
Yes, Montenegro just dropped to 9th, because David Yunt, Brian Yannick and Jason Fitch all passed him. But David Yunt is really under attack from Yannick now, and down this long straight, I guess the Ferrari engine will help him just propel past David. And he's going for the outside here, but that's going to be an easy pass, and it is.
Massive speed advantage there for the Menardi.
Meanwhile, Vitor Montenegro is actually stopped on the course. Now, I don't know what's happening here. Well, he's not exactly on the course, but he's stopped. I wonder if he had a problem pitting or something.
Could well have, but his car was racing, which is usually a sign that it is actually having its wheels changed. Or its tyres, sorry.
Well, I don't know. Well, let's not create too many theories here. I guess we will know what happened in due time. Meanwhile, with his demise, Brian Yannick is now 6th in the Minardi. Yunt is 7th, Fitch is 8th, Rossetti 9th, and Asserkun 10th. And look at this, Victor Montenegro is now classified as a retired DNF with suspension damage. So 15 cars still running.
Oh,
Yeah.
Carell's just gone into the barrier.
I guess I spoke too soon. Carell indeed
Hmm.
has gone into the barrier, and that's a definite, yes, for sure, retirement. So Carell with the other Ferrari retired. And, well, he was pretty much down the order now. I guess he'll promote everybody behind him another spot.
And Rossetti's lost a wheel as well.
All sorts of drama here. Indeed, Rossetti lost the wheel, so his charge through the field is now compromised.
Got back to the pits, but I'm not sure they'll be able to repair that.
Indeed,
No
I'm not
matter
sure.
how talented the LaRousse mechanics are.
Well, at least not repaired in useful time.
I think that's game over for you, Paolo.
Yes, although he seems to be having trouble finding his pit stall. But yeah, I don't think he can continue with this. Indeed, he retired. So
That means Brian Yannick, after all his troubles, is back in the points.
yes, Brian Yannick is now 6th, despite stopping for a new wing. And I guess he took the chance to change tires too. Well, it just shows that it pays off to be patient, especially because, like we said earlier, this track can catch you in ways you're not expecting, especially if you lose your concentration.
It certainly can with all the fast corners around here. I mean, you've got Rouge, Blanchimont, Pouin, all just waiting to rip your wheels off if you make a mistake.
So I guess the status quo has resumed because we have in the sixth, yes, Brian Yannick, 5th is Gabriel Del Piccolo, 4th Francois Romain, 3rd is Juha Boss, 2nd Michal Yannick, and 1st David Jakes. I mean, if it wasn't for the retired of Chapman, we would have all the usual suspects here.
Yannick certainly seems to have got into his rhythm. He's just getting quicker and quicker, it seems. Slowly pulling away from Juha behind him.
Yes, it seems so. It seems Juha cannot catch Yannick, at least at this point. Maybe when they both stop, things might change a bit, but we are almost halfway through the race, so I guess you were right, and most people, especially among the leaders, will only stop once.
I think that'd be the safest and most sensiblest option. I mean, there's plenty of places for the tyres to cool down. They are overheating.
Yes, one of the best aspects of this mod is that they recreated different compounds very well in terms of that it's actually the heat you have to be careful, not necessarily the wear. And you have a lot of tires to choose from.
Certainly do. 4 compounds for the race and 2 for qualifying. So a lot of choice, a lot of debating what's the best way to go. Of course, there's no refueling allowed back in 1991. So if you could make the tyres you choose for the race and make them be quick enough, not pit, that could benefit you. But generally it seems a 1 or 2 stop is the best way to go.
And everybody being very conservative at the top. I guess after all these many races during this season, our leaders are already very, very comfortable with the cars and they know what to do to make them last and in terms of strategy.
They do, yes. I mean, we're well enough into the season, as you say. You've been in the car all season, you should know by now how it behaves, what it likes, what it doesn't like. And if you're still learning, then perhaps you need to try a bit harder with your car. That's another side that's impressive about David Young. He's gone from one car to another every weekend, and he's made it work. And most of the time, he brings a car to the finish. So Shows what a talented driver he is.
Yes, Yunt seems at least to be very flexible in terms of the car he drives. He can do good performances in basically any car. Even he drives here. He drove some of the races of our touring car season. He drives a car in our kart series. So he also is a regular, I believe, in our endurance series.
Yes.
So he has his work cut out for him, but he seems to adapt pretty quickly to any machine. And I think our leader probably went to the pits because suddenly the gap to Yannick is now only 30 seconds. So I suppose David Jakes took the chance to get some fresh tires.
Could well have done. Yes, he's had one pit stop. That's probably him set for the race. And he's still got 30 seconds spare.
Yes, bar any problems or any surprises, I think Jakes will cruise to another win. Let's see how things progress behind him. Because although Yannick has 9 seconds over Boss and Boss has, I should say, 8 seconds over Remen, things can change pretty quickly there with one botched pit stop or a mistake.
And yes, quite easily. But it's a shame that Ryan at the picks is showing some brilliant pace at the moment.
Yes, I guess the happenings of that long train didn't help his cause indeed. He's showing some great pace with the Nardi Ferrari, and he might still, well, he might catch Gabriel if Gabriel makes a mistake or if his tires maybe he runs into tire wear problems, but he's definitely far, but at least he's in the points already.
He is, and points are always a welcome return come the end of the race.
Yes, Formula One being back then very, very restrictive. Only the sixth first finishers got points, so it was really a big accomplishment for some of the smaller teams to get any points.
Yes, you needed a great deal of luck back then to get points, especially if you were a smaller team.
Yes, also because back then, I think, I believe Fokker from Bernie Ecclestone had the rules that you would only get traveling paid some of the money if you actually scored points. So it meant really, really a great deal to the smaller teams.
Yes, without a doubt. And in the days of pre-qualifying, you could get enough points. You wouldn't have to be getting up early on a Friday morning. Take part in pre-qualifying, which was never really popular, I believe.
Yes, I'm sure. I'm sure the teams that never got past or usually wouldn't get past pre-qualifying had the most frustrating jobs around there, especially because, like you said, Friday morning only, so their sponsors would get a really small exposure, etc. But still, I'm sorry, but still, well, there was at least a lot of cars back then, a lot of teams.
And there was. I think that's partly why some people call this era of Formula One the golden era. Everyone has different opinions, obviously, but if you could get your hands on an engine, a mediocre designer at best is what these lesser teams had. Get him to pen a chassis, someone to build it you paid the entry bond, you could go racing in Formula One. And you could have a go. 9 out of 10 times you failed and you got nowhere. But it brought a whole world of weird and unique teams, Formula One, around that period.
Yes, that's something that maybe it's missing on the too controlled, too corporate Formula One and sport in general now. Those more colorful characters, those adventures. Oh, and look at this. Remen just crashed. Remen just crashed and he's out of the race. So this is a huge blow for him, but it will promote David Junt in the footwork to a point position.
He's crashed at the top of Eau Rouge. It's claiming another victim.
Yes, once again, a corner that if you just take it slightly wrong, especially with these very low and twitchy cars, it can be your doom.
It caught me out when we did an open race here, when this mod was first released. So it can certainly catch anyone out.
Speaking of this track and this, well, not the mod, but at least the track and the venue, we will have in 2 weeks' time, I believe, or
Yes.
2 weeks' time, we will have
16th.
here the 1,000 kilometers of Spa with our Group C cars. Now that's an event that you'll be sure not to miss it, even if it is from a driving standpoint, because it will be very. I believe it will be a very interesting race in such a fantastic circuit with such cars, especially endurance race with pit stops, driver swaps, and etc. It will be really interesting.
Be a fantastic race. Quite possibly the best circuit on the calendar. Some would disagree and say it was the Nordschleife for what we did at the last round.
Oh, I wouldn't. For sure.
Again, it's another era of the golden era of sports car racing. I think that era is slightly less contested than the Formula One era. An amazing time for sports cars in the 80s.
Yes, the massively popular Group Cs, and since we are, we are running the early years of Group C, we even have some Group 5 cars there in the mix. If that's what you fancy the most.
Yes,
now, Yannick,
it's a great variety, but
Yannick seems to have went into the pits because he's now in third place.
he's 14 seconds roughly behind Juha Boss.
So Juha momentarily is in front of Yannick, but I don't think that will be for long, unless he can put a rabbit out of a hat and go all the way, but I don't think he's able to.
Another mention needs to be made of David Junt again. He's got the footwork into the points with the retirement of Francois.
Yes, like I alluded earlier, David Junt is now 6th, so for a quick rundown of the top 6, we have Jake's leading, we have Juha Boss 2nd, Yannick is 3rd, Del Piccolo 4th, Brian Yannick in the Minardi is all the way up to 5th now, and David Junt with the footwork is 6th. Jason Fitch, he's still running in 7th, Jonathan Assekund is 8th, Ray Vidal is 9th, Emmanuel Haas, a regular finisher, is 10th, Bruno Chacon will be 11th soon, and Jason Whitehead will be 12th. I have to mention Fitch because he has been having trouble finishing these races. Sometimes he retires really early due to either crashes or losses of concentration. He's a driver that is much more comfortable around ovals and road courses, but he seems to be doing okay here.
He seems to have found the rhythm, which is all important, especially when you're out there racing on your own. So he's doing a good job, and he'll be hoping he can possibly sneak a point first one of the year. He does.
Well, he is in the primary position to do that if some of the drivers in front of him have some sort of trouble, and we saw already in this race that can happen when we least expect.
I mean, Jason Fitch is looking for his first points. Jonathan Askelin is looking for his first points. Ray Vidal is looking for his first points. Same with Emmanuel. I mean, getting the Modena into the top 10, that's a great achievement. Plus, we all know how much of a, for lack of a better word, dog that car was.
Indeed, it was. And yes, Jonathan, who has been a chronic seventh in Formula One races, even last year, he finished seventh numerous times. And it is a great deal of frustration to him because he at least wanted to score a point and he was always at the gates of it, but never managed to get that elusive sixth place.
Well, the way people are retiring from this one, I won't jinx him, but he may have a chance here.
Juha Boss and Ray Riddell are both in the pits, so Janak once again goes to second.
Gap may be much closer though, because Janak's just entering Eau Rouge as Juha comes down the hill. So we may have to keep an eye out on that one.
Yes, let's not forget that because, like Richard said earlier, pit stops only had tire changes. There was no refueling back then, so some cars can have a completely different setting and behavior when they are lighter. So some surprises can come out of there.
So Piccolo's just left the pit lane and Janak's very close to him. Obviously Janak pitted earlier in the race, but will he have to pit again? More than likely.
Maybe he pitted very early, but at the moment Gabriel is under attack from Brian Yannick, who is closing in really quickly. That Ferrari engine propelling him into the fifth position, or fourth position I should say. And there he goes.
Yes.
Well, I still have to mention how beautiful the cars were back then. I mean, they're really clean and really... The image of a Formula One in my head is something like this. Forever.
Yes, without a doubt. Very sleek cars, no silly little aerodynamic flicks all over them. Sleek, smooth lines. All you want from a Formula One car.
Like people would say, they look quick in the business, even standing still.
Do. I say it a lot with the Jordan.
So Yannick is now fourth, but let's see for how long, because we do believe he has to still pit once for tires, although his rhythm is really strong still. I mean, unless the tires will have to drop off a cliff for him to really consider, okay, I have to stop now. But we know the tires here really do that after a certain amount of laps.
I know before Del Piccolo pitted, Janak was quicker than him, so we'll see if he can still pull away, even with Del Piccolo on fresh tyres.
Well, Del Piccolo seems to be using those fresh tires because Yannick doesn't seem to be able to pull away nearly as fast as probably he would before Piccolo stopped.
I think it's a case again of a bit like with a big wobble there in Eau Rouge for Del Piccolo. Same with David Junt and Jason Fitch. One set up for the straights, one set up for the downhill twister section.
Still some of the most, well, I should say unusual cars to see in the race because they were never seen in the race. So I guess not even that are still running, like the Modena Lamborghini Intent driven by Emmanuel Haas, or Jason White driving the Kalani Ford in 12th. So these cars are still here in the race. And if they finish, they will surpass their real-life counterparts at least.
It certainly will. I mean, the closest the Modena came to scoring points was at the San Marino Grand Prix when it was wet. Eric van der Poel running in the points, I believe, but he had fuel pickup issues for the last few laps and it dropped him to 7th. Would have been a completely different story if he had scored points, so they may have carried on, sponsors may have come on board. That's what it was like for those little teams.
Yes, because if they had done that, at least they would be out of pre-qualifying. That was really important.
Yeah.
Of course, the Colony was never seen in a race in 91. The car never was able to qualify. It was already an old design. Even in 91, the car going all the way back to 89, the original design of it. And it was really underfunded, had paid drivers, so it was really, I guess, the quintessential F1 reject, if we can say, of the 91 season.
It certainly was. But it's one of those teams that made Formula One of that era. They had the design, they had an engine. We found a driver willing to pay to drive the car. Thought it, let's go have a try.
Indeed, and like we said earlier, I do kind of miss that more wild, more adventurous spirit. We had a lot of teams back then coming out of F3000 or other series to try to make a name in Formula One. Jordan being the best example here in this race.
Yes, without a doubt, and probably of all the new teams from 91, the only one that stuck around for a foreseeable future and went on to some success in the late 90s, winning several races.
Yes, they were even in the hunt for a championship once with Heinz-Harald Frentzen.
Yes, in 99, went to, in retiring from the European Grand Prix held at the Nürburgring, sealed that fate that they wouldn't challenge for a title anymore.
Yes, when I believe they tried a more powerful version of the Mugen Honda engine that they were using, which was an incredible effort in itself. Also, the fact that there were basically client engines or private engines back in these days, when maybe engine tuning and engine building wasn't so costly and so complicated as it is today.
Certainly not. I mean, all you have to do is look at today's Formula One and how many manufacturers are in Formula One, and then look back to the 90s. You had teams that had no prior experience in Formula One or car companies thinking we'll have a go at making an engine. One being Subaru. Tried making an engine, it was a big failure, but they tried.
Yes, in 1990, I believe, for the Kalani team, right?
Yeah, Minardi tried it as well, but they saw sense and walked away from it.
The Subaru engine, which had the unique feature of actually being a boxer engine, which was out of favor by this time in Formula One.
Yeah, by that point it was starting to become clear that a V10 may be better because Renault had produced a very solid engine for Williams and it was starting to come to top of its game. And then soon every other team followed. And Jonathan Asselklinth has had a spin at the bus stop, but he's kept it off the barriers.
Ooh, there it is, those lapses of concentration that can be so costly here. Luckily for Jonathan, he can keep going without any damage, but I guess that surely woke him in. It woke him up.
Without a doubt. Maybe been sleeping slightly. He's certainly awake now.
It is. Someone who's not sleeping is Jakes, because now he has a full minute over the second placed car, Michał Janak, who is still just over 9 seconds in front of Boss. So they're like keeping their distance there, more or less, until now. In fourth place, Brian Yannick is still going, but we shall see until when. Gabriel Del Piccolo, who already made his pit stop, is fifth, and David Junt is still sixth with the footwork.
Jason Fitch is still within 3 or 4 seconds of him.
Yeah, so Fitch there, waiting patiently. If something happens, if something comes to his way, he might get a point here.
Could well do. I don't believe these two have pitted either, so...
No, he's going to the pit
Oh,
now,
Fitch is
actually.
pitting now, yes. Oh, as Young gets sideways at the exit of La Source. But he's managed to keep it going. We see a pivotal point in the battle for the final points. If Jason can get these new tyres switched on and find some speed, he may gain them few seconds just to pass David when he comes to pit. If he does, he may be trying to not pit.
Although I do wonder if David already pit was maybe in lap 26. He did a lap 8 seconds slower than his usual.
I think you'd lose more than that, surely. I don't think he has, you could be right, but I'm not 100% sure.
Well, we shall see. Behind Jonathan, we still have Ray Riddell on the track, driving the Brabham Yamaha.
Being lapped by Brian Yannick, who's still staying out. As
Yes.
David Jake starts his 33rd lap. Just
Yes.
11 to go.
Indeed, 32 laps completed of the total of 44 in this race. A beautiful mon indeed. And, well, I mean, we have been, like we all know, here in HSO, we always have something lurking in the shadows, ready for next year. And of course, we will have some news in due time, but we are still working the details. It's still early days to plan next year in full. But we might see some surprises for people, so stay tuned.
Yes, it should be starting with HSO next. But let's get this one out of the way first.
Indeed, we still have at least a few more races of this fantastic F1 Championship to go. And of course, we have more races of the Endurance Championship we're running, and many of the races of the Kart Championship that we are also running by the completely in-house built mods that we are running now.
I think
And,
David Junt has now pitted. The gap
Oh,
between them is a lot closer than what it was previously. David Junt is just exiting Pouon as Jason Fitch enters it.
so Fitch, once again, very close to profit from anything that might happen to Yunt.
Everyone is certainly spread out. Bruno Chacon is holding up our leader. But David's got plenty of time in the bag, no need to rush. Takes it smoothly.
He has basically 10 laps to go and 1 minute to spare.
Feels he could lose 10 seconds a lap and he'd probably still be fine. Well, he wouldn't, mathematically, but... Knowing David, he'll probably start going quicker.
So the next few races here at HSO, we have this Wednesday, I believe, the last round of the British Touring Car Championship from 1996 at Brands Hatch Indy. And next Sunday, we will have the Cleveland Grand Prix from Kart 88.
We will. Around the Turk. Can't remember the name. Around the airport, we'll just call it.
The Burke Lakefront Airport.
That's it.
A very unique track, like they were more or less in that calendar. It certainly had some variety to it. Ooh, Jonathan Nassekamp was just overtaken by Ray Riddall. So Ray moved to 8th, and Jonathan is back to 9th.
According to my report, David Young has not pitted yet.
Really? You think he might want to try to go all the way?
Seems like it. Manuel Haas is in pits, making his one and only stop.
Well, there are 9 laps to go now. If Yunt has the pace, he can really try to go to the finish.
Good. I'd be interested to know what tyres he started on. But either way, it's been a great drive by him. Fingers crossed it's some first points for Footwork, a team that I've always liked personally.
Well, they do have a very unique car this season. Too bad it was so slow, but I believe it was hampered by lackluster engines. The Porsche being maybe the most surprising for the negative.
Yeah, Porsche sent very lazy with their turn to Formula One, basically using a design from the 1970s. So, well, who knows what it may have been. Obviously Porsche withdrew and they've never come back again.
It's true, and well, they had a successful stint in the 1980s with McLaren, but the rest of their tries were not very good. And let's not forget that they actually entered Formula One in '91 after dropping out from the IndyCar Car Championship, where they actually could have achieved some interesting results if they just kept at it. But they seem to, at the time, being a bit confused about what to do and lacking money.
Yes, I think their main proving ground, World Sports Cars, was it pulled from that, and that was going through a development turnaround this period, so didn't seem a viable option anymore. I also wonder if Brian Yannick is going to make it to the end on these tyres from his first pit stop. He hasn't pitted again. Joe Boris to complete another lap.
And he just did his fastest lap of the race, so I guess he's not with grip problems, at least not yet. Ooh. Our leader, Jakes, almost ran into the back of Ray Riddall, trying to lap him. That was very close. Ooh, and Jason White was very slow there, and I guess Jakes is having all sorts of scares now.
A heart in mouth moment there. Pulling out from behind Riddall to find a slow Coloni in front of you.
That could have spelled disaster for him, and it goes to show that the race is not finished until it's finished.
Very true.
Asserclick doesn't want to seem to give up on Ray Rudolph's position because he's still very, very close to Ray.
He is. Very close. Again, it may be a case of, on this section of the track that we're on now, the AGS is running more wing and may respond to the turns better, whereas the Brabham, although the Yamaha engine is a poor one, it did have a lot of power.
Yes, it certainly will make the life of Jonathan, if he wants to overtake on the straight, very, very hard.
Battle for second and third has calmed down, if you could have called it a battle before, and it's now a 15-second gap.
I guess the Ferrari proving actually, Ray Rudolph went really, really wide, but he managed to stay, well, at least pointing the right direction. Yes?
The tyres must be wearing on that Brabham because the rear end stepping out every time he goes to accelerate. Jonathan locks up going into La Source. He tries to get the inside, but the old thing, not enough power from his Cosworth engine.
Yes, and he certainly is not going to overtake Ray here down the straight.
And Jason Fitch is out. He's gone off at Pouan, I believe it is.
Ooh, when he lost his rear wing, his front wing. And who knows what more damage he has, but if he hits the barriers, I would guess he has suspension damage, and he seems to have, because the car is running very, very crooked. So I guess that's the end of that for Fitch, at least for a points position. And it's a shame. But, you know, these cars demand full concentration all the time. And if you lose it for a second, you pay a heavy price.
Trying to get back to the pits, but I'll be very surprised if he can repair that suspension damage. Car is practically crabbing looking at it.
Yes, it seems very, very terminal, especially with...
Here comes his teammate. And the Brabham and Jonathan, this... Oh, he's pulled off and hit the barrier. I think he's maybe thought better of it. No, he's carrying on.
He's trying to go.
The AGS being so much better under braking than the Brabham.
Well, it's certainly helping us get a good spectacle here at the last few laps.
Because for the past 20 or so, it's been very spread out the field.
Well, but that wasn't unusual for these kinds of races back then in Formula One. I mean, the field would get strung up most of the times in the races, and we are not that nostalgic that we don't acknowledge that. But
No,
that also made those moments where there was a fight until the end or a big overtaking, you know, a big event.
I think it happened a hell of a lot, especially on these longer circuits. One I remember was in 1994. at the German Grand Prix when all the top cars seemed to retire and two Ligiers ended up on the podium.
So that was a good day for the Ligier team, and like today here.
Yes. I mean, there's been several teams that's had a bad day today. Williams having a terrible one. Tyrrell having a bad day. Ligier, as you say, the engine blowing for Steve again. Very unfortunate. Jason Fitch is in the pits with attached to front wing and rear wing, but it's a question of that suspension.
Yes, a lengthy pit stop at least awaits him. I do wonder if he will even come out before the race ends, but I believe he can, if they can repair it. Oh, he's coming out now.
Have a see.
Car's still crabbing. Ooh, it is a bit. It is still a bit, so I don't know if he'll continue like that.
No, it's
Ooh,
definitely
no.
damaged. I think it's safest if he just parks it. I believe he's doing now.
Yes, I think he's doing just that. He's parking it. And
Then again,
or maybe not. But
would help anyone that comes up Eau Rouge at that point.
yes, he's not going to have any sort of competitive rhythm with the car twisted like that. So I guess the sensible choice here would be to just acknowledge defeat and retire. But it's always hard to ask that from a driver, especially when you got so far into the race.
Is but doing 80 mile an hour, place where cars are approaching 200, not the best thing to be doing.
Indeed, he might put other people in a dangerous position. And I don't know if he's trying to limp back to the pits. Do you think he is?
Could well be, but I don't know what it would achieve, to be honest. I mean, the car can't be repaired anymore. Unless
Yes,
he's just wanting to limp home, but...
Well, there's still quite a bit of a way to do that. And he's stopping now. I guess maybe... No, he's just letting Yun through. Yes, if he goes to the pits, they'll just tell him, look, there's nothing we can do. And that's it. Now he's in the grass again.
Onto the grass. Whereas David Jakes is now on his 41st lap. Got a minute and 5 lead over Michel Yannick. Second, with UR Boss still in third. Brian Yannick, is in fourth. Gabriele Del Piccolo in fifth. David Young picking up the last point in the footwork in sixth.
And Brian Yannick still hasn't stopped. Again, at least.
He hasn't. He could have been very clever, and when he pitted, changed his strategy and chose a harder tyre. Quite possible.
Well, whatever he did, it certainly paid off because he climbed all the way back to a very good fourth place. Doing a very good race.
It could have been a blessing in disguise, him having that bit of damage. It took him out of that crowded area. Gave him some clean air. Get into a rhythm, enabling him to bring the car home.
Yes, it is really dangerous to be in such a group of cars, don't you think?
Is you've got to think about yourself and where you're positioning your car, but then you've got to take note of where the other cars around me. The car in front could brake earlier than you, yet the car behind could brake later. You've just... so much goes off in your head. And then you've got these ferocious cars, which if you haven't got set up correctly, can absolutely murder you if you're not careful.
Well, Fitch went around really, really slowly and he's going back to the pits.
you go. He stopped at the bus stop. Is that him retiring? Turn the engine off, so it won't be starting there.
Maybe
Oh.
he will await the leader to come to his last lap and go try to limp to the finish, like endurance racing style.
Turned his engine off, so he won't be able to start it.
Oh, that's true. He doesn't have a starter. These cars didn't have a starter, and this mod doesn't have a starter also. So if he killed his engine, that's game over for him. So with Fitch stopped, 11 cars are still the race. Now when we have, I believe, 2 and something laps to go.
David Jakes is coming round to finish his 42nd lap. So there will be just 2 to go after this one.
Well, and Jake certainly hasn't slowed off, at least not that much. Still lapping in 157s at this point. Just for us to have a comparison point, the second place Michał Janak is doing 159s, 2 minutes, 159s. Jakes is now coming to lap Brian Yannick, which is our 4th place car.
Yeah, and it's another dominant performance by David Jakes.
Yes, he said earlier in the season that he really invested all his time in this championship. He didn't even pick a car, a permanent car at least, in our Kart 88 season, because he wanted to really invest all this time and energy in this series.
Certainly repaying him. He's won a championship effectively as a result of it. It'd be interesting to see, as you said earlier, whether Gregoire Gosselin could have challenged him. But real life gets in the way, unfortunately. So we was deprived of that potential battle.
Indeed, we will never know. Although part of me at least hopes that Greg comes back for a few more races before the season ends. It will be interesting to see a few duels, especially when we both would have nothing to lose.
Yeah, they had a great duel at Magny-Cours, which unfortunately resulted in a collision and Greg retiring. Well, that could have been the taste of the year, those cars.
David Jakes in yet another lap, which I believe must be the final lap.
He's completed 43, so he's on his 44th and last lap, I believe.
Yes, I think he might not lap Brian Yannick before the end of this race. Well, he doesn't need to, right? He has over a minute to spare. And unfortunately, I don't know how many wins he already has this season, but there are too many to count, that's for sure. It's easier to count the ones he didn't win.
No, it's, like you say, it'd be quicker to count the ones he hasn't won.
Of course, David started the season on the McLaren, and which was a Tier 1 car. He very sportingly stepped down one tier at least for the Jordan, but that didn't stop his winning ways. And
It didn't.
Well, I guess it's a matter of we can't slow down. We can't punish the man for being quick. Everybody else must raise their game.
It's very true. He's, as you said, he's put the time and effort in, and now he's reaping the rewards. So well done to him, and I won't say it yet and curse him like Murray Walker, but Looks as though he's got this one in the bag.
Coming to the bus stop now. So just a quick square to go. And there he comes, David Jakes has won the Belgian Grand Prix of 1991 here at HSO.
He is now officially our 2017 Formula One champion.
He is, because Mick Chapman retired and Yannick will only be able to score yet another second. He has an unassailable lead in the championship, so we congratulate David Jakes for this incredible performance and these performance and donuts to properly commemorate the occasion, something that is forbidden now in F1, who knows why. And he finished the race with a very quick time of 1 hour 28 minutes. And it's incredible how quick these Formula 1 races are. And so, second place now still coming to the line.
It's coming through Blanchimont. Yep.
Yes, Michał Janek is coming. Juha Boss, if nothing happens, will be third. Brian Yannick, fourth. Gabriel Del Pico already finished in fifth place. David Yunt, we are waiting him to confirm that the footwork team indeed has a point. Ray Riddell
Just come out of
seventh.
pool.
Jonathan Asserklin finished 8th. Emmanuel Haas finished yet another race in the mud in 9th. Very well done there. Bruno Chacon survived until the end with the Minardi. And Jason Whitehead will finish the race with the Coloni. Well done there too indeed.
From Juha Boss over the line, a solid third place after his eventful start to the race.
Now Brian Yannick is coming to the bus stop after a pit stop for repairs. A very good race from him.
User joined your channel.
And he's fourth. So now only the surprise of the day, David Junt, which is coming through to the bus stop now to get 1 point for footwork. Which, well, we have to say, it's a pleasant surprise and a great result. Which he celebrates almost like a win.
It is a win for footwork. And we're joined by Jonathan Asserklin, who's drove to a solid 8th place today. How was that for you?
Somewhat hectic, I would probably call that. Car wasn't quite there. It was a bit of a handful, and then I made a mistake on the strategy. I shouldn't have pitted. With the pitting, I had no chance of keeping up with Ray. I'd hoped to come out just ahead of him, but came out about 2 car lengths behind him, and that was that.
We saw you having a battle with Ray for a few laps, but it seemed the Yamaha power was too much for you on the straights.
Yeah, I think when I was actually keeping up with him, he was probably saving a bit of fuel. When later on, when I lost half a second to a second a lap, he put the wick up and he just pulled away with that power indeed.
Yeah. He was another great driver. I mean, we all know the AGS isn't the best car out there. It's certainly up there with the worst. But again, you've brought it home and another great job.
Yeah, the aim is to finish every race and hopefully finish in the top 10. I had slight hopes of finishing in the top 6, but David was way too quick and clearly Ray was quicker as well. But yeah, pretty happy with that.
Well done.
Well done indeed, Jonathan.
Thank you.
So I guess this concludes our broadcasting of this event. Yet another dominant performance from David Jakes, and yet another good F1 race. 11 finishers is nothing to be ashamed of, even because, well, most of these races even have less finishes back in the day.
Let me see if I can get his champion to come and have a chat.
Well, that would be interesting. But he's somewhat shy sometimes with these interviews, so good luck with that.
We were actually We were actually discussing during the last lap whether that would clinch the championship or not.
He is champion, so
User joined your channel.
here's the other winnable say of the day. David Junk getting that footwork into the points. Quite incredible drive.
Yep. Thanks.
A drive you celebrated like a win.
Well, I mean, it was very hot during the carb there, but thanks to the other
User
guys
joined
like
your
saying, "Oh,
channel.
just take it easy and be careful." And so I got it up there, and then I felt good. So I have to thank them so much, David and the other guys.
User
It was
joined your channel.
really nice to drive in the end, even though the car still had its quirks. But
Oh,
hey, footwork scores, woohoo!
Well, that's good.
very.
Go ahead, Richard.
Gonna say a great job, but now we must speak to our champion who's joined us here. How does it feel to win a proper championship at HSO instead of your Gold Star one?
Well, that Gold Star was certainly hard fought, but this one's definitely a different vibe to it. I don't know. I'm over the moon. Race went fantastic. Season went better than could ever be expected. So just put in a lot of effort and had a lot of help. And thanks to everybody. It was great. Great championship. Thanks for putting it on.
Our
Yes.
pleasure.
You didn't even seem to slow down in this race. You just kept your foot down until the end of the race, or almost.
The car was just in a groove, and I definitely didn't want to get caught where you get too passive and something happens because you're not focusing. So I definitely kept a little focus up this whole race.
And indeed, it's a hard track and hard cars. You can never lose your concentration with these.
Yeah, and I just ended up pushing a little bit the whole race to accomplish that, not lose my edge. I don't.
Well,
It was going to be close at the beginning. You know, we had a couple fast cars that unfortunately ran into some troubles, which gave me some breathing room. Definitely changed the
yes.
complexion.
Mick Chapman probably was your closest rival, but he crashed, unfortunately. So
Indeed, and I know that Ferrari wasn't too far off on pace either. And I'll need to see a replay to see what happened. Something happened early to put him back, but the whole race I was pulling away. I could tell he had good pace.
yes, the Ferrari and many others were stuck at the beginning of the race behind Vitor Montenegro in the Leighton house, which formed a huge strain behind him. He was losing up to 5 seconds a lap to you at the beginning of the race.
Definitely, my car liked the clean air. The aero wash you'd get behind somebody is actually bigger than expected. So happy to get that clean air and get to drive in it.
Does this mean now that you are champion, you are going to give up your car and drive a Kelowna?
I'll give another car a go. Maybe not the Cologne. I don't know. That's a special one.
That's too quick for you.
Oh yeah.
But a really great job, well done. Dominated all year. As we said in the broadcast, it'd have been nice if Greg could have took part in the season a bit more, but real life gets in the way. So again, a great job.
Yeah, maybe if he's back for the end of the season, we could get in the same car and have a little duel, and then he'd drive away into the sunset, and I'd have to watch that. But it'd be interesting.
Well, we shall see. Anyways, I think you two were on pretty equal footing when you were driving the Jordan and he was driving the Minardi, at least.
Yeah, before that though, there was such a discrepancy in the cars. The Minardi was definitely a little more level. I still don't know if it was equal. Jordan's pretty sweet ride. It just takes a little setting up. I gotta say, just thanks to everybody. The traffic in this race was really good. Everybody was on the ball. Pleasure to race with everybody. Definitely a good little scrap at the beginning, Mick and I, we each gave each other room, you know, early in the race, but it was still fun to swap positions. So appreciate that.
Let's just grab a word with our second place driver, Michelle. How
Hello.
was it for you?
Very hard because at the start I was hit by Montenegro, and the car was a little worse at the back, and then he was a little slower in technical sections. I was wasting too much time behind him. Then Juha overtake me, and later I pushed other overtake Juha, then overtaking Montenegro, but he hit me, and my front tire was a little to the left, so I drive whole race wheel to the one side.
Oh, to say you had those problems, you did a great job. Your pace was very consistent. Who was keeping an eye on it?
I'm completely wet because there is too hot in our country, and the race was very hard to be patient and don't overdrive the car.
Again, another great job. Another 6 points in the bank for you, and you've pulled just a bit further away from Mick Chapman in third in the championship. So well done.
David is too fast for me. Only what I can do is win the qualification, so maybe next time.
It was very close this time, so at Monza it may well be the track where you get pole position, so best of luck for that.
Yes, it will be very hard track because there are very fast corners, and I don't know which version will be there, if there be chicanes like 15 years ago.
Yes, there will be.
Or it will be the Nova-Day version.
I will be using the correct layout from what we used in 1991.
Congrats to David to championship.
Indeed. Congratulations to David. Congratulations to you, all the finishers. And once again, I believe it was a good race. I think people behaved a bit better than in a few of these last races. I do mean only a bit, but of course, the admins are always here to resolve any disputes or anything. Still, it was good to see positions fought, with space and courtesy. From behalf of HSO, I want to thank you all for taking part. I want to thank especially here Ben for once again bringing us these broadcasts, and Jonathan for helping us crucially at the beginning of this race, or else there wouldn't be a broadcast, at least not a link for it. So thanks a lot for both. Well, from me, from Richard, we say so long, and we hope to see you on the next race.
Yes, many thanks for organization this